Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Deep Dive. It's great to have you with us again.
Absolutely.
Today, we're doing what we always do, taking a big stack of sources and really digging in to pull out the key insights, helping you get up to speed quickly but properly.
And today's topic is a big one: online business models. Specifically, we're looking through the lens of, well, a pretty remarkable figure.
That's right. We're drawing heavily from the experience of Iman Gadzhi. You've probably seen him on YouTube, a nine-figure entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
And his perspective is, well, unique because he's not just talking about this stuff. He's actively built and invested in a huge range of businesses.
Yeah, everything from software, tech companies to actual physical product brands, service businesses. It's a really broad portfolio.
So you could definitely say today's deep dive is very much inspired by him and his approach.
What makes his view so valuable, I think, is that objectivity he brings. Unlike a lot of people online who push the one thing that worked for them.
Right, the one magic bullet.
Exactly. Gadzhi isn't really tied to any single model. He's had major success across the board: bootstrapped, VC-funded, tech, consumables, you name it.
That sheer breadth of actual hands-on success lets him compare these different models pretty impartially, which is frankly incredibly useful for anyone trying to figure out what really works, especially if you're just starting out.
Gives us a much clearer picture.
So our mission today, really taking a cue from Gadzhi, is to ask a question that, well, it might make some people in the whole grind culture a bit uncomfortable.
It's a provocative question, for sure.
It is, but it's simple. How can you make the most money possible with the least amount of effort? We're going to unpack his argument for what he calls, quite deliberately, the laziest way to make money online.
Now, hold on. Before you jump to conclusions about that word lazy, he's very quick to clarify.
Yes, absolutely. It's crucial. For Gadzhi, lazy isn't about, sitting back and doing nothing, waiting for cash to appear. Not at all.
No, it really translates to finding the smartest, the most efficient, basically the highest ROI path to building wealth.
It's a total reframing, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not lazy in the traditional sense. It's strategically lazy.
Exactly. It's about optimizing for impact, for leverage, not just logging hours. He directly takes on that pervasive idea that huge success must come from endless struggle and sacrifice.
Right. The idea that if you're not burning out, you're not working hard enough.
And he reframes seeking efficiency not as some kind of moral weakness or like you're not dedicated enough, but as a smart strategic advantage. It's a lens to view opportunities through.
It really shifts the whole conversation. It moves from just how hard can I possibly work to something more like how smart can I work to get where I want to go?
Which is a much more powerful question, ultimately.
And that brings us to the promise here. Because look, you've seen the videos online, right? The get-rich-quick stuff.
Flashy cars, big promises.
Exactly. And then you see the other side, too, the people almost shaming you if you want things to be easier. Like, success has to be this painful ordeal.
It's like you can't win. Either it's a scam or you're not trying hard enough.
But Gadzhi, with his track record, kind of cuts through both of those extremes. He's very clear. Get rich quick, in the magical sense, doesn't exist. No snapping your fingers.
Right. That's the fantasy.
But, he argues, get rich quicker and easier, that absolutely does exist. It's not about idleness. It's about rigorously evaluating opportunities for the best possible return on investment, ROI.
Which is standard practice in investing, right?
Totally. In traditional investing, every single decision is weighed. What's the potential return versus the capital, the risk, the time involved?
Gadzhi's point is, why shouldn't building a business be exactly the same? Why wouldn't you apply that same rigorous ROI-focused thinking?
It seems obvious when you put it like that.
It does. It's about adopting that disciplined, analytical mindset of a smart investor. An investor always wants the biggest gap, right? The biggest difference between input time, money, effort, and output.
Maximize the return for the resources spent.
Precisely. So why treat building a business any differently? We should be asking those same tough questions about business opportunities. What's the most efficient vehicle, or boat, as Buffett calls it,
The Buffett analogy, yeah.
that gets us to our financial goal with the highest return on our time, our energy, our capital? It's a very pragmatic, almost cold calculation. Takes the emotion out of just working hard for its own sake.
So let's really cement this philosophical foundation. Rethinking lazy, rethinking hard work in this entrepreneurial context. Gadzhi's core point is clear. No magic wands.
No overnight millions without effort.
But there are smarter paths, more leveraged paths, paths that make the journey, well, significantly less draining, less likely to lead to burnout, and ultimately more likely to succeed.
And this isn't just playing with words. It's a direct challenge to that ingrained belief that equates massive wealth only with grinding struggle. It's saying there's a more intelligent way to approach this.
It reframes efficiency not as, lacking dedication,
Yeah.
because who honestly wants to waste effort?
Right.
But it frames efficiency as a strategic edge, a sign of smart decision-making. So, for you listening, the question becomes, what if your whole approach to building wealth could be optimized? Optimized for efficiency, for leverage, instead of just raw hours clocked.
That opens up a whole new way of thinking about your time, your energy, your most valuable finite resources. You start prioritizing impact over just being busy.
Which is why he keeps hammering home that laziest, in his specific definition, means choosing the business model, the vehicle, with the best ROI for your goals. It's about working smarter, full stop.
Tying back to that investor mindset, always seeking the biggest delta between input and output. And his question is so simple but so powerful. Why should business be different? Why is there this weird shame, often pushed by hustle culture, around wanting to optimize efforts?
It's like you're supposed to want it to be unnecessarily hard.
Exactly. And Gadzhi tackles that stigma head on. He confronts this idea that wanting to make money with minimal wasted effort is somehow wrong. He champions asking, very directly, what is the laziest, meaning smartest, highest ROI way to get there?
He's seen people burn out, right? Stuck in the wrong model.
Thousands, millions probably, floundering because they're rowing incredibly hard, but they're in a leaky boat going nowhere fast. He wants people to know that asking about efficiency isn't just okay, it's essential for sustainable success.
And he uses that powerful example to dismantle the flawed logic. The idea that, say, nurses or teachers or construction workers aren't millionaires just because they don't work hard enough.
That's absurd when you think about it.
Completely. Those are some of the most demanding jobs out there, physically, mentally.
Draining jobs, yeah.
The key insight, the big takeaway here, is that pure hard work, while necessary, is just one piece of the puzzle. The business model itself, that boat you choose, plays a much bigger role, arguably the dominant role.
It comes back to the Buffett quote Gadzhi loves. It's not about how hard you row, it's about what boat that you're in. Some models just have way more leverage built in. They require less effort for the same or even much greater results. That's just how they're designed.
It's an economic reality, not just an opinion.
And this is where Gadzhi's own experience becomes so compelling. He calls it a very unique perspective. And it's true. As a nine-figure entrepreneur, he hasn't just read about these models. He's built successful businesses using a whole range of them.
That's the critical difference. He's not just selling the one thing he knows.
Exactly. He explicitly says he's not really married or obsessed over any one model. His track record is incredibly diverse. Multiple software companies, including Floy, which is doing insane numbers, facilitating like $100 million a month in earnings for its users.
Wow. Right.
Yeah. Then he's got physical product brands. His eyewear company is doing really well. He started out with service businesses. That's how he built his foundation. And on top of that, he's arguably one of the top guys in the world for digital products. He even calls himself the #1 digital product expert.
And it goes beyond just the businesses he owns directly, right? He talks about VC-funded stuff, bootstrap stuff.
Different funding models, different pressures. He's invested in consumable brands like Big Day. His reach is just vast. And that means he can genuinely compare these things without the usual bias. He's looking for the smartest path, so you, the listener, don't get stuck working 60, 70 hours a week on this thing that may or may not work.
Finding the model that aligns with efficiency, leverage, sustainable results, not just brute force effort.
Right. And to do that comparison properly, to figure out which model is the laziest, the most efficient, highest ROI, he uses 5 clear, objective criteria. These are the pillars of his analysis.
Okay, let's lay these out. These are the 5 key categories Gadzhi uses. First up, upfront capital.
Yep. Basically, how much money do you need minimum just to get started, to get the business off the ground before you make a single dollar back?
Not just registration fees, but tools, maybe inventory, platforms.
Oh, sure.
The essential.
Exactly. What's the real cost of entry?
Okay, second criterion.
Scalability. This is huge. How well does the model let you make significantly more money without having to proportionally do more work yourself? Is there leverage?
Because if every extra dollar earned requires an equal amount of your direct effort, it's not really scaling, is it? It's just a high-paying job you created.
Precisely. We're looking for exponential potential, not just linear effort for income. crucial for the lazy concept.
Makes sense. Third category.
Fulfillment. How hard is it? How complex is it to actually deliver the product or service you're selling?
Is it super hands-on,
Yeah.
requiring constant attention? Or can it be automated, delegated, streamlined? Where's the hidden work?
A lot of headaches can hide in fulfillment.
Fourth, and this is a big one, risk.
Yeah, evaluating the different levels of risk, financial risk, time risk, even emotional risk, often tied directly to that upfront capital and time investment.
And Gadzhi emphasizes minimizing risk for beginners, right?
Yeah.
Even though he takes big risks now.
Oh yeah, he's very clear on that. He shares examples like wiring $500,000 for his eyewear inventory or putting nearly $1 million into stock for his consumable brand, Big Day, right away.
Wow, okay.
He's invested heavily in tech too, like WOP, that platform for digital products we'll talk more about, and another called LRA that got into Y Combinator, which is a huge deal. He expects like a 15x return on that.
But that's him now.
Exactly.
I
That's
get
him
it.
now. With capital and years of experience, his advice for beginners is emphatic. Until you've had many, many years under your belt, minimize risk above almost everything else. Don't bet the farm early on.
Got it. And the fifth and final category.
Difficulty. How hard is the model to understand? And crucially, how much trial and error is involved in actually making it work? What's the learning curve like?
Is it intuitive? Or are you stumbling around for months, maybe years, trying to figure it out?
Exactly. So the ideal scenario, the truly laziest business model, according to this framework, would score great on all five. Low upfront capital, super high scalability, super easy fulfillment, extremely low risk, and super low difficulty.
That sets the stage perfectly. Let's use this framework now to dive into some specific, popular online business models, starting with one that gets a lot of hype.
Yes. The one that often seems like the ultimate shortcut. Drop shipping.
The siren song, right?
Okay.
It sounds so appealing, especially if you're new. Find a product, usually from China.
Listed on your shiny new website?
Sales just magically roll in, and the supplier handles everything else. Fulfillment, shipping. Sounds incredibly simple. Too simple.
Well, Gadzhi's take is pretty blunt. I wish it was this easy, but unfortunately it's not. Let's apply the criteria. First, upfront capital.
Okay, how does dropshipping score here? People often think it's near zero cost.
Yeah, that's the myth. Gadzhi rates it realistically at around $2,000 to $5,000.
That's quite a bit more than zero. Why so high?
Because the biggest, often hidden cost is finding a winning product. Or, as he kind of jokes, just finding one that's legal and won't cause problems.
The product testing phase.
Exactly. That phase usually requires weeks, if not months, of running paid ads, Facebook, TikTok, Google, just to see if anyone actually wants to buy the thing. You're essentially burning cash just to validate the idea.
So you're spending potentially thousands just to find out if you even have a business.
Pretty much. It's expensive R&D, essentially.
Okay, what about scalability for dropshipping?
He rates traditional dropshipping as moderate, but with a really important catch. He argues that the common way it's done chasing trends is not truly scalable long-term.
Why not?
Because it becomes this endless cycle. Test products, find a winner, ride the wave, the trend dies, close a store, find the next fad, build a new store.
Like being a hamster wheel.
Yeah.
Constantly starting over.
Exactly. No real compounding. Now, he does add nuance here. Building a real actual brand with physical products like he does with his eyewear, that can be scalable.
Okay, so there's a path.
There is, but he immediately warns it's highly complex. Multiple parties, supply chains. He gives a real-world example. A recent $125,000 eyewear order arrived, 1,000 units, but they had discoloration issues.
Ouch, that sounds expensive and frustrating.
Totally. Set them back 2 to 3 months on that product. It shows the tangible headaches with physical products. Scalable.
Yes.
Yes. Easy or lazy? Absolutely not.
Got it. How about fulfillment? Isn't the whole point that the supplier handles it?
Mostly, yes,
Wow.
which is why he rates it moderate.
Yeah.
The supplier does the shipping. But the catch is, key aspects of the fulfillment process are out of your control.
Like what?
Shipping delays, customs holdups, suppliers running out of stock just when your product takes off,
Right.
dealing with customer complaints and refunds for things you can't directly fix.
Right, you're reliant on someone else entirely.
And that lack of control, he says, makes it a very stressful business. You can be great at marketing, but if fulfillment keeps letting customers down, your business tanks.
Which logically leads to risk. How does drop shipping fare there?
High, especially for beginners. You've got that upfront ad spend for testing, the volatile market trends, the lack of fulfillment control. It all adds up.
A risky combo.
Very. He even mentions how external things like Trump's new tariffs suddenly impacted his own e-commerce businesses. He's seen so many beginners burn through money on ads without knowing what they're doing. And even established stores can just die out due to market trends. It's fragile.
Okay, and finally, difficulty.
He rates it hard. Being truly successful in dropshipping today in 2025 is very difficult, and he thinks it seems to be getting harder and harder.
Was that more competition?
More competition, smarter marketers, platform changes. The amount of trial and error needed just for product testing is immense. It's a steep learning curve. He reckons it can take months, half a year to even become profitable if you make it that far.
So the big picture for dropshipping,
Yeah.
despite the hype, it demands a lot of effort, carries high risk, and isn't the easy win it often looks like. Definitely not lazy.
Not even close, according to Gadzhi's analysis.
All right, let's move to a model Gadzhi himself has often recommended, especially for people starting out, the social media marketing agency, or SMMA.
Yes, SMMA. This one's been a popular entry point for a lot of online entrepreneurs.
So the basic idea is you're a service business, right? You offer specific marketing services to other businesses. Could be running their ads, doing SEO, web design, social media management, lead gen.
For a monthly fee, usually.
And Gadzhi has said, quite openly, it's one of the best business models for beginners. So let's run it through the 5 criteria, starting with Upfront Capital.
This is where SMMA really shines. He rates it super low, $50 to $200.
Wow, that's a huge difference from dropshipping.
Massive. He calls it a sweat equity model. Your main investment is your time and effort, not cash. You don't need thousands of dollars in software or paid ads to get clients initially. Basically, a laptop, Wi-Fi, and some basic software is all you need to get rolling.
Making it incredibly accessible. Low financial barrier to entry.
Exactly. Very cost efficient.
But what about scalability? Can you grow an SMMA easily?
Here's the trade-off. He rates scalability as low.
Low. But people build big agencies.
They do, but it comes at a cost. Because it's service-based, every additional client adds more work and more complexity.
Well, yeah.
More people to manage, more deliverables, more client communication.
It doesn't scale effortlessly.
No.
Yeah.
There's a point, he argues, where the extra juice just isn't worth the squeeze. He often advised people SMMA is great to get to 10K a month, maybe even 20K a month for a great lifestyle business. Solid income, manageable complexity.
But beyond that.
Beyond that, scaling becomes a little tricky. You trade more money for significantly more management headaches and less personal freedom.
Okay. How about fulfillment delivering the services?
He rates this moderate. It can be simplified using contractor arbitrage.
Explain that.
It's basically finding skilled freelancers or teams, often in places with a lower cost of living, to do the actual marketing work. You might pay them, say, $500 a month per client, but you charge the client $1,500 or $2,000. It's a common and legitimate model.
Creates a profit margin.
Right. But the moderate part, the downside, is you have to manage a full team of these contractors or employees. And you have to deal with clients on a daily basis, manage expectations, handle issues, keep them happy.
So you have to be actively involved in management.
Constantly. You need to be truly a business owner, switched on the ball, which, again, doesn't perfectly align with that ultimate laziest business model goal where you want less hands-on involvement.
Makes sense. What about the risk factor for FMMA?
Very favorable here, rated low. He calls it one of the lowest risk business models out there.
Because of the low capital needed?
Exactly. No huge capital injections required, so you're not risking a lot of money. Plus, you have a lot of control over the fulfillment process compared to something like dropshipping. You're managing the service delivery directly or through your team.
That makes it very beginner-friendly from a risk perspective.
Definitely. You can test the waters without betting the house.
And finally, difficulty. Is it easy to succeed with SMMA?
He rates this one moderate. While it's beginner-friendly on capital and risk, he notes it has become a lot harder over time.
Market's more crowded now.
Way more crowded, more mature, competition is higher. Just sending cold emails isn't enough anymore. To succeed today, you need to master various different skills.
Like what?
Prospecting, effective outreach, sales, negotiation, team management, client management. It's not just about being good at marketing. You actually have to be a real business owner and be skilled in multiple different domains.
So, summary for SMMA? Low risk, low capital start. Great entry point. But scaling brings complexity, requires hands-on management, and demands a broader business skill set than maybe people realize. Good, but maybe not the laziest at scale.
That seems to be the assessment. A solid launchpad, but potentially not the ultimate high-leverage destination.
Okay, let's shift gears dramatically. Let's talk about the dream for so many tech-minded entrepreneurs. Software.
Ah, yes. Building the next big app, the allure of recurring revenue, massive valuations.
Yeah.
It's powerful.
Everyone sees the billions being made. But what's Gadzhi's take? Especially given his own software success with Floy.
His warning is immediate and stark. Based on building Floy and investing in others, he states, flat out, software is one of the most difficult business models to succeed in for the average person starting out. It's a different league.
Let's apply the criteria. Upfront Capital. I'm guessing this is high.
Extremely high. Minimum $250,000, he estimates, but often way, way more. Into the millions, easily.
$250,000 just to start. Wow.
Yeah. To build a solid software company with real potential, you either need a lot of your own capital saved up, or you need to raise hundreds of thousands, if not millions, in funding from investors.
Even if you can code yourself.
Even then, you'll still need a team eventually, designers, other developers, support staff, and software developers are not cheap. Plus, on top of development, you need a huge, extensive marketing budget just to get noticed.
So it's a massive financial undertaking from day one.
Absolutely. Not a side hustle you bootstrap easily.
Okay, but the payoff can be huge, right? What about scalability?
This is where software scores incredibly well. Very high scalability. That's why it creates billionaires. Once the product's built, the cost of adding one more user is often tiny, almost zero.
So it's all about user acquisition after the build phase.
Largely, yes. But scaling brings its own complexity. You need to grow your team, more developers for new features, bigger customer support teams, client success managers. The financial scaling is amazing, but the organizational scaling is a major, complex job in itself.
Right, it doesn't just run itself once it's big. What about fulfillment, actually building and maintaining the software?
Rated. Very difficult. Building the first version takes months, if not years of hard work. Complex coding, design, testing.
And it's not like you build it once and you're done. Right?
Exactly. That's the key. Software demands ongoing development of new features as well as ongoing bug fixes, security updates, performance tweaks. It's never finished. It needs constant attention and resources just to stay relevant and functional.
A perpetual work in progress.
Pretty much. Which leads directly into risk. How risky is software?
Given the capital and difficulty, I'm guessing very.
Very high. Gadzhi calls it one of the riskiest business models out there. If you use your own money, all of that money can be lost if it doesn't take off. If you use investor money, that adds an extra layer of risk and pressure. You're playing with other people's money.
High chance of failure.
Significant chance of failure. The odds are stacked against new software ventures.
And finally, difficulty overall.
Extremely hard. The software market is one of the most competitive markets on earth, full stop. You need a huge amount of technical skills, coding, design, UX. And if you need funding, navigating that whole world adds another layer of extreme difficulty.
So the verdict on software for beginners.
Gadzhi's advice is crystal clear. Simply not a beginner-friendly business model. It takes years, massive effort, specialized skills, often huge capital, and carries immense risk. His honest advice would just be to avoid software when starting your entrepreneurial journey. Leave it for later, if ever.
Okay, message received on software. Let's move to another popular online model, affiliate marketing.
Right, affiliate marketing. This is interesting because Gadzhi has made millions from it, but he positions it very differently from his main businesses. For him, it's always been more of a background side income, not the core focus. That's a key distinction when we're thinking about the laziest primary model.
So how does affiliate marketing actually work? Let's just clarify that first.
Sure. It's pretty simple conceptually. You, as the affiliate, promote someone else's product or service. You get a unique link. If someone clicks your link and buys, you get a commission, a pre-agreed cut.
And you do this through content. Blogs, social media, YouTube reviews.
Exactly. Websites, blogs, social posts, videos. Anytime you hear a creator say link in description to buy this, that's usually an affiliate link. They make money without ever handling the product.
Okay. And Gadzhi's own experience with it.
He's generated significant side income, yeah. But he points out, I have never used my social media platforms for affiliate marketing. His platforms are for his own brand and products.
So where did his affiliate income come from?
In the past, some of his training programs for agency owners included affiliate links for software tools his students needed anyway. It was a win-win. Passive income for him, often good deals or vetted recommendations for his students.
Makes sense. But he doesn't do much now.
Largely no. He's transparent about it. Now, he has the resources to just build custom softwares for my users or invest directly in companies like WOP to control the solution entirely. He's moved beyond needing affiliate links for core offerings.
Okay, let's apply the criteria. Upfront capital for affiliate marketing.
Extremely low. He rates at $100 to $200.
Again, very accessible.
Very. Requires minimal upfront investment. Most of that small amount goes towards content tools, maybe video editing software, graphic design tools like Canva, perhaps some AI writing assistance. You're investing in content creation, not inventory.
What about scalability? Can you scale affiliate income easily?
He rates this moderate. Theoretically, you can promote unlimited products, but the bottleneck is actual content. You can't realistically promote hundreds of things effectively in one video or blog post.
So your income scales with your content output.
Pretty much. The more content you make, the more products you can promote, and the more money you are able to make. It requires ongoing content creation to grow significantly. It doesn't have that create once, sell infinitely leverage of some other models.
How about fulfillment? Seems easy since the brand handles the product.
It is easy in that sense, which is why he rates it moderate. The brand handles shipping, returns, all that. That's a huge plus. But your fulfillment is creating quality content and attracting a big audience that trusts you enough to click your links.
The audience building part.
Exactly. He recommends building a micro-niche personal brand, but warns it takes time and effort. You're not fulfilling orders, but you are fulfilling the need for constant, engaging content and audience growth. That's the work involved.
What about risk?
Extremely low. Probably one of the lowest risk models out there.
Why so low?
Practically no upfront investment to lose. And crucially, he makes this great point. The skills you learn growing an audience, creating content, will add value to your life, whether you're successful with affiliate marketing or not. They're transferable digital skills.
So even if the affiliate income doesn't take off, you haven't really lost anything, you've gained skills.
Precisely. Makes the risk pretty much insignificant.
And difficulty. How hard is it to make affiliate marketing work?
Rated moderate. Finding links and not having to fulfill products makes it seem easy initially, but the difficulty bumps up to moderate because you must grow an audience. That takes time, consistency, and mastering content creation for specific platforms. It's often underestimated.
So affiliate marketing, super cheap, super low risk, great way to make side income. But the main challenge is building that audience, which takes time and skill. Gadzhi sees it more as a side thing than a primary path to massive wealth.
Yeah, that seems to be his take. A valuable tool, great for personal branding practice, but perhaps not the ultimate lazy business model for seven-figure incomes.
All right. This brings us to the model that Iman Gadzhi identifies as the clear winner, the future, the laziest and highest potential model right now,
Yeah.
Digital Products 2.0.
Yes. This is where his analysis culminates and where he's clearly putting his focus and, significantly, his investment.
Let's define terms first. What exactly are digital products in this context?
Simply put, it's about packaging information in a way that solves a particular problem for the buyer. Think online courses, training programs, downloadable guides, templates, workshops.
Information products, basically.
Essentially, yes. And Gadzhi is, by his own account and track record, incredibly successful here. He mentions earning almost $100 million in the last 5 years just from this model.
That's a staggering number. Hard to ignore.
It really is. It demonstrates the sheer potential. But he makes this crucial distinction. Digital products 1.0 versus 2.0.
Okay, what's the difference?
When he started back in 2018, the 1.0 era, it was not easy. It took him months to create even basic products and high-quality products, extremely expensive. His big programs like Agency Navigator cost millions of dollars to produce.
Millions. Why so much?
Because it required hiring outside experts, building totally custom software platforms for hosting the courses, large teams for filming, editing, support. The barrier to entry was extraordinarily high. You needed deep expertise, tons of research time, amazing copywriting skills, and serious cash for the tech and team. It was the opposite of lazy.
Okay, so that was 1.0. What changed for 2.0, the current era?
Everything, basically. He says 2 key technological advancements have eliminated the need for everything I just mentioned. It's a paradigm shift, not just an improvement.
What are these 2 game changers?
First is the AI revolution, specifically tools like Synthesize AI. Gadzhi is incredibly bullish on this. AI, he says, has cut down months of work into minutes. His old process involved months of research, synthesizing info, scripting videos, then recording. Now, AI, like his company's Synthesize AI tool, can research a topic, synthesize the knowledge, and script the content that needs to be recorded in minutes. He says it's eliminated 95% of the workload for creating top-tier digital products for its users.
So the AI does the research and writes the scripts.
Yes, and more. It helps find profitable topics, pulls knowledge from experts, creates the entire program outline, scripts the lessons. He says literally the only task you have is to record yourself reading the script. You don't even need to be on camera, just record your screen using Loom while reading. It even creates supporting PDFs and resources.
Sounds incredibly streamlined, almost too easy.
It sounds revolutionary, and that's just the first piece. The second is the platform powerhouse, exemplified by WOP.
WOP, what's that?
Gadzhi compares it to Shopify or Amazon, but specifically for digital products. Remember how Shopify democratized e-commerce for physical goods?
Right, made it easy for anyone to set up a store.
WOP aims to do the same for courses, guides, etc. Gadzhi actually invested heavily and became a co-owner. The key benefits. It's free to use, eliminating the need for expensive custom platforms. And it has built-in marketplaces, helping creators get discovered, similar to Amazon's marketplace.
So AI helps create the product super fast and cheap, and platforms like WOP make selling it super easy and free.
That's the synergy. That combination, Gadzhi argues, has lowered the barrier to entry lower than ever before. He sees it as one of the biggest online money-making opportunities of the decade.
Okay, this sounds potentially game-changing. Let's apply the 5 criteria quickly to Digital Products 2.0. Upfront Capital.
Minimal. $100 to $200, same as affiliate marketing. WOP is free. The cost is just basic tools like Canva, Loom, maybe an AI subscription. You can create a top-tier product with minimal upfront investment.
Scalability.
Super high. Create the product once, sell it potentially thousands or millions of times without doing any extra work per sale. Ultimate leverage. It embodies the lazy principle perfectly. Fulfillment.
Given the tech, I'm guessing easy.
Super easy. Thanks to platforms like WOP handling delivery and access and AI simplifying creation, the process is so simple. Once it's made and uploaded, it's largely hands-off.
Risk.
Extremely low. Risk is insignificant. WOP being free means you can launch multiple products without cost until one hits. And AI drastically cuts down creation time, so you're not wasting months on a potential flop. You can test and pivot rapidly with minimal loss.
And finally, difficulty.
Super low. Why? Ease of building with AI is one factor, but the other huge factor is timing. The industry, this 2.0 version, is in its infancy. Competition is still extremely low.
Like getting into e-commerce years ago.
Exactly his comparison. Getting into dropshipping or e-commerce 10 or 12 years ago, he strongly advises against chasing models that had their glory days and focuses on what's working right now and what's going to work for the next 5 or 10 years. Digital Products 2.0 is his clear bet.
So the summary for Digital Products 2.0, lowest capital, highest scalability, easiest fulfillment, lowest risk, lowest difficulty. It ticks all the boxes for the laziest, highest ROI model.
According to Gadzhi's analysis and framework, unequivocally, yes. Potential for tens of thousands a month with minimal effort, low competition, and rapid market growth. It's presented as an unmissable opportunity.
Okay, let's pull this all together. Comparing these models side by side based on this analysis.
Dropshipping, as Gadzhi puts it, not looking very pretty. High effort, high risk, getting harder.
SMMA, still pretty appealing, especially as a low-risk start. Good path to 6 figures, but scaling gets complex and demanding.
Software. For beginners, forget about it. Too expensive, too hard, too risky.
Affiliate marketing. Pretty good statistics, very low risk. But the core challenge is audience building and maybe better as a side income for most.
Which leaves Digital Products 2.0. Gadzhi is adamant. You can't argue this. He sees it as undoubtedly the biggest opportunity in the online space right now.
And his investment in WOP wasn't casual. He spent years evaluating the space.
2 years, he said, looking at companies and trends before becoming a co-owner. He sleeps easy at night, seeing where this market is headed.
He keeps going back to that historical comparison.
Yeah, getting in on e-commerce with Shopify 10, 12 years ago. Getting in just the right time before things explode.
And the market projections back this up.
Significantly. Expected to more than double in the next 5 years, hitting almost $1 trillion a year industry by 2030. That's enormous growth.
So wrapping this up, what's the final message for you, the listener?
Gadzhi lays out a clear choice. You're at a fork in the road. Do you get in early, leverage these new tools and platforms, and claim your slice of the cake in this booming market?
Or do you wait? Wait until it's mature, ultra-competitive, and you're left fighting for the crumbs.
It's a call to action based on timing and technological shifts.
This whole deep dive really highlights how crucial it is to understand the underlying mechanics of these business models, the effort, the risk, the scalability. The game changes, and knowing how it's changing is key to finding the real opportunities.
Absolutely. The challenge isn't just knowing, though, it's acting on that knowledge.
We really hope this exploration, using Iman Gadzhi's framework and insights, gives you some real clarity as you think about your own path forward.
Yeah, hopefully it helps you find your smartest, most efficient, maybe even your laziest path to success, whatever that looks like for you. We're rooting for you.